And when they laugh and smile as you just did, then many times I can get them to talk to me.
因为这样，所以他们就有机会愿意将他们的事情告诉我。
As Christians, we have to learn. The Bible says we're to. Paul said, "I die daily."
保罗说，我每天都要经过自己的审查。
He said, "I am crucified with Christ."
他说，我每天都跟主同死。
Nevertheless, I live.
我也跟他一起活着。
The Spirit-filled life is when I allow Christ to truly control and rule my life.
在我的灵性生活里头，我愿意让主做我的主。
But when if we rule our own lives, we do the deeds of the flesh.
当我想要靠着自己来行善的时候，我知道我做不到，因为我本身肉体的情欲不容许我，不会允许我这样做。
And so Paul gives us a list of the deeds of the flesh.
保罗在这里举出很多的名词，说到照着你的肉体，你会做这些事。
And then he gives a list of the fruit of the Spirit.
然后底下我们看到的，他也提出，假如你是靠圣灵来引导你的话，你会结什么样的果实？
And we're going to look at that this week and next time.
我们要接着来看这些事情。
The first deed of the flesh is adultery.
我们先要看的就是这些靠着你的肉体，你所会做的事情。
It is
第一个
sexual.
就讲说奸淫，
It is sexual immorality.
也就是在在不道德的行为。
It's talking about stealing another man's wife or another woman's husband.
就是变成小三或者小王那个情况，
And then there is fornication.
这些婚外偷情的事，
And that is any kind of improper sexual relations.
也就是不正常、不道德的性事。
There are many people who do not come to church because they are involved in an immoral relationship.
有许多人就是因为犯了奸淫，他们就不敢也不愿意到教会来。
There are many, even Christians, who are living together and they are not married.
有些基督徒，他们自称是基督徒，他们住在一起，但是他们没有结婚。
I told one young man, so why don't you marry the lady?
有一次我问，跟一个年轻的男士说，你为什么不干脆就结婚呢？
And then there is uncleanness. It is moral uncleanness.
那再来就是讲到污秽。
All these are listed in the text.
这里圣经上把它提出来，奸淫、污秽、邪荡。
In the Gospels, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, this word is used of demonic spirits.
在圣经上要求你要过一个圣洁的生活。
When people get involved in wrong, yes, sexual relationships, they are messing with the devil's fire.
当一个人行这些淫荡的事，他是跟魔鬼结伴。
And then there is lasciviousness.
那时候我们看到拜偶像，
What in the world is that?
那是什么意思呢？
It is when a person throws off all moral restraint. They do not hold back. They just do anything.
那大概是在讲邪荡，把邪荡这个意思，引述出来。邪荡就是他所行的，他不管别人怎么想，错的他也要做。
There was a saying from the 1960s when I grew up and you grew up.
在1960年代的这些人，
They said, if it feels good, do it.
他们那时候有一句话，就说：你假如感到好的，你就去做吧。
They called it the sexual revolution.
他们说这是对性的开放。
They called it the new morality.
那时候这是新的道德规范，
There was nothing new about it.
这并不是真的是一个新的规范，
It was and is no morality.
事实上这是一个不道德的行为。
There was an old song that said this.
有一条歌这样说：
Do your own thing.
这些歌词是这样说：做你自己的事，
Do what you want to do.
做你想要做的事。
Another song said this.
还有一个歌词是这样写：
I can't get no satisfaction.
他说我得不到满足。
And so ever since then, so many have just gone crazy, just doing anything and every wicked thing there is.
所以受着这样思想这个歌词的影响，他们就去放纵自己，做他们想要做的事。
And it is like Sodom and Gomorrah.
就像旧约所形容的那两个城市，所罗门和俄摩拉这两个最后的城市。
There is no more shame that people are not embarrassed about anything so many times.
他们不会感到羞耻，他们不会感到不好意思，他们就是放纵自己。
And then in verse 20, Paul mentions idolatry.
保罗在这里讲到婚外情，
This involved heathen sacrifices to demons.
这些就是拜偶像的事。
And many of those sacrifices involve human sacrifices.
这些拜偶像的事，他们甚至对自己对自己的事来行。
And many times they involve the sacrifices of children.
很多时候是拿小孩子当作祭品来 敬拜他们的偶像，
And so life was cheap.
所以生命好像是非常的廉价。
And now we have abortion.
现在我们看到很多打胎的事。
There are those who feel that the elderly, when you're no longer good for much, when you stop producing, you ought to just be done away with.
甚至对老年人，他们也是这样想说：当你没有办法做你对别人有好处的话，最好你就走吧。
I think it's called euthanasia. I can't remember. But you get old, you can't function much. Hey, you're taking up space. You take up resources to take care of you. Hey, just die and go away.
就像孔子所说的"老而不死，谓之贼"那个思想，
The people,
就是老了你不中用了，你最好走吧。
and then there's witchcraft.
还有就是那些行巫术的。
From the Greek word, we get the word pharmacy. Pharmacy, like where we get drugs.
对，在希腊的语言讲到说，用药品、药物。
Drug abuse is a great problem even in all of our jails and prisons, believe it or not.
吸毒，用药物来麻醉自己，来让自己高兴，这些事情，事实上以前就有，现在还是有，甚至在监狱里头，你都可以看到这些使用药物的事。
It involves use of drugs and poisons.
这些毒品。
In prison, they will make this stuff and spray it on paper.
他们做这些事情就放到纸上去，
And they roll the paper up and then smoke it to get a buzz, to get a high.
他们用这些药物放在纸上，然后就像吸烟一样，让它这个烟熏他们自己。
And one of the ingredients is rat poison.
那些东西他们用的东西，有些就是老鼠药，煮老鼠的那个药，他们拿来当成得到他们要麻醉自己的期待。
And this is something that is, this is a type of thing that is used in Satan worship, in the occult. The devil's in it.
这些就是邪教的情况，是魔鬼所利用的，来麻醉，来让这些人得到这样的伤害。
The next thing Paul is hatred.
保罗底下提到的就是仇恨，拜偶像邪术，然后讲到仇恨。
It is the opposite of agape love, that self-sacrificing love.
仇恨就是跟无私的爱、没有条件的爱，完全180度反面的一个影响。
This is the opposite of serving one another, which we talked about earlier.
仇恨就是跟我们讲过，互相无视， 完全是背道而驰的。
It comes from a Greek word which actually means the enemy. So the hatred is you treat someone as an enemy, not as someone you. It's the opposite of loving your neighbor as yourself.
仇恨在希腊的原文就是敌人、敌对，而不是互相的不是，是完全敌对，把你当成敌人一样的来看待。
And the last one we will speak of today is variance.
在底下讲到去增进。
The word means when you cut something apart.
这个本意是讲说，你假如把一些事情把它切开的话。
How many stories have I heard about Baptist church splitting, having arguments, and the church splits into two?
我们听过很多教会分裂的这样发生的事情。
When I was 26 years old and first out of seminary,
当我在26岁的时候，我去神学院学习的时候，
I pastored a church in the state of Maine, way up in the northeast, Maine.
在缅因州的一个教会的牧师，
And this church had a long history of turmoil and confusion in the church.
这个教会已经有很长的历史，他们在里头常常温闹着不合真进的事。
I was a young man, but they wore me out.
我是一个年轻的，但是他们也甚至能够让我感到疲劳无助。
When I left there, they got another pastor for us.
当我还在那里的时候，他们又找了一个牧师。
The church did not split in two.
教会就分裂成两个团体。
It fractured three ways. Three different groups split out. It blew up.
教会就这样的四分五裂。
What a big, fat mess.
是这样的令人感到寒心的混乱情况。
The Holy Spirit leads us and pulls us together as believers.
圣灵将信靠他的信徒把他们合而为一。
And we'll talk about the fruit of the Spirit a little later, another time.
我们接着在这同章里头22节开始，就可以看到圣灵所结的果子。我们以后再来看。
But this week, when we're alone with God, we all must do this.
那我们在未来这一个礼拜，我们的生活里头。
And read all of this passage and all the deeds of the flesh and the fruit of the Spirit.
你假如能够将加拉太书这第5章从13节看到24节，我们就可以看得到两个对比。
And I have to ask the Lord, Lord, of all this, what describes my life, my heart?
我就求我的神，这两个对比里头，我的生命是偏向哪一方？
Am I walking in the flesh?
我是不是依靠我的肉体，照着我自己来做？
Or am I walking in the Spirit?
或者我是依靠圣灵的引导来
I serving Christ and others?
我是在主里面互相的服侍呢，
Or am I serving myself and yes, people's sake?
或者我只是看到自己，事实上我就是照着魔鬼的引导来做。
If you don't know Christ, today is a good day to come, and I invite you.
你假如还没有认识主，是你